So here's what happened. I was just hauling home some more junk like I do. In this case, it was that lathe. And I pulled out from a stop sign, junk as I'm saying, and I wasn't even remotely on the gas or anything. It was just like a regular pull out, and it pretty much sounded like the entire rear end of the truck ripped out. What happened was, somehow, the axle perches actually ripped. Both of them. Now, if you watched my video about lowering this, the axle flip kit just moved them to the top. This axle used to be under the springs, so the spring used to sit on top of that. So the reason it sounded so bad is because it made the pinion do that. And actually it was worse. But I wanted to drive it home, so I took what I had and I engineered this ratchet strap to actually like pull the pinion down a little bit, because it wasn't even drivable. It wouldn't like even move. It was actually binding up. You can actually see on the screws there, or the bolts rather, from the drive shaft rubbing. Ooh, some more in there too. Oh, we'll see if that's still good or not. I don't know about that. So yeah, that's fun. I had never used these spring flip kits before. I'd always just cut the perches off and re-welded them where I needed them. And it kind of looks like I probably just should have done that in this case. So that's what I'm going to do. So I went online, and of course I went on Amazon first because I'm cheap, trying to find some new perches. And believe it or not, the best deal I found was on Summit. Even weirder was, let me bring it up here, they're actual Mopar parts. There they are. The price was so cheap that I ordered 2 sets because I thought it must be single in a box. But no, it was 2. These were $12 for the pair. Most of the ones online I saw were $30 or $40, even for like no-name ones on eBay and Amazon. So I don't know if this was a screw-up or not. So there's the part number, in case you want to buy some, or in case Summit wants to freak out and correct it. But at least I have a spare set now. Bad news is that because they're Mopar, that the second I put these on my truck, it has like a 300% increase of the likelihood of bursting into flames when I drive it. Okay, but now with all the junk out of the way, you can see it even better. So it literally just tore the old spring perches. And like I said, believe it or not, I was really like, I don't know, an 1/8 throttle. Because this truck won't go anywhere, so there's no point like trying to be cool. And plus I had that lathe like really shadily balanced in the bed. So I was really taking it easy. I wasn't like, you know, hammering on it. The wheels weren't hopping. I wasn't trying to launch it to a burnout, nothing. It was just like pull out, whoop, truck's ruined. But hopefully the new ones will fix it. So the first issue I saw is that those axle flip kit brackets, the actual centering pin is offset. I forgot about that when I installed it, but you know, it must be because it's there. So I think that's to move the rear back, probably because lowering it's going to screw up your drive shaft length. So this hole's too small. I'm just going to ream it out to the size of this hole, and then that's actually like the exact distance of those flip brackets, so this should work perfectly. Just got to ream this hole out to whatever that is. Okay, I think I got everything set pretty good. Got the axle tubes all cleaned off with a wire wheel. So what's kind of nice here is that I can cheat, because normally then I have to center the axle in the car. In this case, I can just go off where the old perches were. Even if they weren't there, there's like a mark in the axle where the old U-bolts were. So I can just put them inside that. So that saves a lot of effort right there. I had to use a ratchet strap there to pull the rear into position, because as soon as I jacked it up, it wanted to get pushed by the shocks. So this side wanted to go forward and this side wanted to go back, but I got it wrestled in. And then I set the pinion angle, which as we all know is critical. So I just eyeballed it and looks roughly pointing in the direction it should be now, as opposed to the bed floor. So the rear suspension is fixed, but I thought while I was in here I might as well address a few other issues it has. The first issue being the front end is too low. I know that seems like I'm a loser, but when I drive this thing around, at least in the roads around here, it's bottoming out on everything. And oddly enough, it's actually the lower control arms are actually hitting the road as I go over bumps. And when it does that, it's not a wonderful feeling when that goes to the truck. And then last night, I was getting the measuring, and I found something, and I'll just show you. So if we measure here, this is the driver's side front, in case you're watching this in some kind of mysterious, like backwards land. Here we'll go from the center of the wheel. This is, I'm going to say 26 and let's just call it 7/8. It's 26 in a lot of lines. The rear of the truck is just under 28 on both sides. I think maybe 27 and 7/8. Now I'll show you the passenger side. So this side is 26 inches. So the passenger side is almost an inch lower than the driver's side. And coincidentally, this is also the side that hits on everything. And I'll show you when the truck's up in the air, but the wheel is actually smashing into the inner wheel well. And when I was doing like my loose research when I put this kit together, not the kit together, but I bought the kit, supposedly running the size tires that I am, I shouldn't have had any contact with the inner wheel wells. And to say it's contacting is putting it mildly. It's actually tearing up the tire on the inside. And I thought ever since I put the truck together with the kit on it that it looked like it was leaning. I always just thought it was because the truck was used as like a tree truck before I got it and the frame was probably bent and hammered. But apparently there's something else going on. Over. Okay, there's 27. Let's see what the other side is. And the other side is 27 1/4. So, Okay, so right now it's level in the front. And I think even on camera you can see there's quite a bit of difference. So combined with the fact that with the lowering kit on it, the truck rides like total garbage. I think I'm going to put these stock springs in and just experiment with cutting them shorter. People are going to be screaming at their computers or whatever you're watching this on right now. But fact of the matter is, cutting the springs on this really won't matter that much because it's not a progressive rate spring. Notice they're all the same coils. People are going to be yelling it doesn't matter, but it kind of does matter. So I'm going to take half a coil off each one and throw them in. I have a feeling I'll probably have to end up taking a full coil out of them to get it down where it should be. But I guess it's convenient I held on to these and my hoarder traits kind of paid off this time. I just got that all reassembled. I did both sides. What's nice now is both the front wheels are pretty close to 27.5 inches, like from the top of the wheel well down to the floor. There's like maybe an 1/8 inch difference between them. And now because the front of the truck came up, it tilted the rear down a little bit. So now the rear is actually like, they're roughly 27.5. So, I mean, I don't know if these fenders are actually like the same height in the body, assuming they are, but you know, I guess they don't have to be. But now the truck's pretty level. The only thing is that the passenger side has half a coil cut out and the driver's side has a whole coil cut out. And that's what I had to do to make it level. And then even weirder is when you lay underneath of it and measure the control arms to the ground, this side is still, don't mind my stove, this side is still about 1/4 inch lower at the bottom of the control arm to the ground than that side is. So that's interesting. I guess that's what I get by starting with a truck that pretty much had the shit beaten out of it his entire life. But now it's a little better than it was. Well, since they decided to flip the switch and engage Silent Hill mode here in Pennsylvania, I guess I'll keep working on the truck. So I'll show you the other thing that's been pretty much bugging me to drive this truck. Well, there's two things, but here's one of them. So I put the electric drive-by-wire pedal in it. It's a 6.5 diesel pedal from like a 90s truck, a GMT 400 truck. And it bolts right in place and it looks like a Squarebody pedal, but your foot, like, I don't know, to me it's really uncomfortable. It's like not in the right spot and my foot cramps up when I'm driving it. So I just figured out like why it's like that. So here is the diesel pedal, the one I had in the truck. And then here is a random factory Squarebody pedal, because of course I just have them laying around. I don't even think it's out of this truck, that's the weird part. And I pretty much set them so that the two pedal pads are, you know, on the same plane level and the 3 mounting holes are lined up. And you can see that the diesel pedal, I mean, it's probably like 3/4 of an inch to an inch taller towards your foot than the factory pedal. And that pretty much coincides with the problem that I'm having, is that like your foot feels like it has to be up too high, and it, I don't know, it makes my leg cramp up when I'm driving. It's really uncomfortable. It's super touchy. I don't know if this will fix that or not, but it seems like it goes from 0 to like full throttle like that when you're driving it. I kind of regret doing the drive-by-wire yet, but it's what I have, so I guess I'll work with it. So I'm going to try and make this pedal more like that pedal, and maybe everything will improve. There's the gas pedal back in it. That actually wasn't as involved as I thought it was going to be. You can kind of see now the pedal is now lower than the brake pedal. Before it wasn't. It was about the same height, which you wouldn't think is that important, but actually made it like really uncomfortable. So then while I was in the interior, I decided to keep going here. I removed, there was a goofy like shelf that went here. Then the sun visor is screwed to that, and they hung down about like here. And I'm too tall for that. I'm about 6 feet tall, and they were pretty much right in my line of vision. If I put them down, I couldn't even see where I was driving. So I put them back where they belong, up on the roof. And then I was going to reattach the rear view mirror that fell off like a year ago. That's handy to have. Then I thought I'd put on the weather stripping that I've also had for like a year, because this was non-existent. So I peeled that off. Then I found rust holes in the floor, and I started rust treating the floor and found more rust holes. So now this whole thing is just snowballing out of control. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do, because it's in the middle of winter here in Pennsylvania, and I currently have another non-running truck blocking the door to leave this place, I'm just going to finish up the interior because I never did it. So I'm going to end this video here because this is just getting out of control now. I'm just going to keep on going and ruin everything. So hopefully next time you see it, I'll be ordering up a new dashboard, vinyl floor probably, seat cover maybe. See how ambitious I want to get, and we'll be throwing that in it before spring.